It's the Down Beach Buzz real estate webcast. Well, it's just the Down Beach Buzz podcast for December 12th, 2025 with Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. Buy, sell, lease, just talk about real estate with sustainable Sherry. Go to realtysherry.com. Also, the podcast brought to you by Paul Scollage. He's the Senior VP of Lending for Rate.com. Go to Paul Scollage. He knows everything about financing of homes, mortgages, refis. Go to Rate.com and ask for Paul Scollage. All right, Sherry Lilienfeld, today we're going to talk about Triple Play, that 3-day event, all for real estate execs to make you smarter. We can talk about the new pickleball courts being designed as we speak for Ventnor. The new boardwalk is being demolished. Well, the boardwalk, the old Ventnor boardwalk, a portion of it being ripped up, getting ready for a new Ventnor boardwalk. But first, Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty. Let me click this button as we get comfortable with this. We're on the front page of Down Beach Buzz. Don't forget, you can sign up for our email newsletter. You can do the search box just in case you have to find something that maybe you're not quite sure where we're hiding this stuff. So let's click on this one, Cher. There's an investor alert, as we can see here in the middle page. It's a mixed-use property. It's iconic, and I'm surprised that it's for sale, but it's been great. A lot of great businesses in and out of this property at the corner of Benson and Ventnor Avenue in Margate. Why don't you tell us about this property, which is has a lot of history, doesn't it?
Yeah. So originally, well, this was once two separate buildings. The current owners bought both buildings and put this beautiful facade on. And I don't know if you want to share the picture now of the facade. This was inspired by a property on Rodeo Drive. This is what the inspiration was for the property. Mitch Tannehill and Mark Arbite owned the building. Mitch said he used to work across the street from this building. He always loved this building. And here they are in Margate and redesigning their property here at the corner of Benson and Ventnor with this beautiful building. It is mixed use. What that means is, because I know you always yell at me for using terms that maybe people don't understand, mixed use means there's retail or commercial on the bottom, and there's an apartment or residential space on top. So on top of this building in the back, there's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, and we can get into the pictures in a moment. Oh, you want to show the pictures now? Yeah, let's look at some of the pictures of this apartment. There's a big deck in the back. Look at this deck. It's great. And again, this is a great location because you're at the beginning of the parkway. Yeah, here's the apartment. It's in beautiful condition, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. And I'm not going to go through numbers in terms of rents and things like that on the podcast because that is confidential. But if someone is interested in discussing the property, they have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. We can go into it. But it's a flat roof. And what that means is if an investor wants to buy this property, they could build up. They don't have to knock it down. They don't have to get rid of this beautiful facade. They could keep what's there, the office space, but they can build up on this property. And it's in such a great location because, wait, just stop, back up a sec. It's a great location because you're right at the beginning of the parkway, and you're also at the beginning of the commercial business district of Margate, which is fantastic. And you're 2 blocks from the beach. So, and if you could almost see in the background, Lucy's back there. You got Lucy, you're close to Lucy, you're close to the greenhouse, Ventura's greenhouse. It's just such an amazing location for someone that wants to be in the middle of everything, have great residential, be by the parkway, and great commercial. Yeah, this is the downstairs. That's Mark Arbite's office. And so anyone who wants to buy it, they would consider, renting the space out from a new owner, so you have a tenant right away. But this is all the commercial space. It's just beautiful. They did such a beautiful job with the property. The asking price is 2.59. And if you're interested in this property, give me a call. I would be happy to work with you as the buyer's agent. It is listed by Mark Arbide and Company with New Era, but you know, we always like to talk about buyer's agency, and I know that's one of your favorite subjects, right, John? Is buyer's agency?
Only a fool goes in to buy a major property, a major investment, and trusting the seller. You got to have your own buyer's agent. You just have to in this day and age. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I had to throw that.
No, I wanted you to throw that in. I mean, again, with people, and we were talking about this at Triple Play. It's like the only profession where someone would represent both sides. One of the instructors said, would you get a divorce and have your divorce attorney represent your ex or future ex? It's like, no, you want someone who represents you. And what you don't understand is if it's a dual agency, if the listing, lots of people like to call the listing agent because they think they're going to get a better deal. But you know what you don't get a better deal with? You don't get a better deal with information. If you're a dual agent, they cannot tell you certain things, but a buyer's agent will hunt and dig for the information. But nevertheless, I love the owners of this property. I've worked with them for years. Mark and Mitch used to work for Berkshire Hathaway when I worked there. We used to drive around together every week to the brokers' open houses together. I would sit in the car with them. We'd tour homes. We'd laugh. And of course, I love to do deals with them. So, and I would love to do this deal with them. And they would be happy if I brought them a qualified buyer for this mixed-use property. It's at the corner of Benson and Ventnor, 9200 to 9202 Ventnor Avenue. And it's 2.599. If you are interested and you want the details, call me and I will get you the NDA to sign and get you in to see the property. And let's talk.
I think everybody knows about this building because when you drive through, coming out of the garden section, or the parkway, I should say, this building is so beautiful, well done. I think Mitch Tannenhill probably had a big role in this when he was out to Rodeo Drive, getting me all jealous, and he's getting inspired by all that design. You like that? I don't think Mitch does that.
Right.
I'm thinking about doing that. But he's driving up in his Rolls Royce and he gets some ideas, took a picture, and that's why you cannot. When I saw this thing for sale, I go, wow, what a great corner, great property. Now, it is mixed use. That means that whatever you do, you still have to retain residential and commercial. Is that correct, Miss Lilienfeld?
Yeah, I mean, unless you go to zoning and they grant you a variance, but I really don't see that happening, especially in this location. I just don't see it happening.
Unless you're really well connected. And then they'll let you slide, and they'll change they'll give you the variance, right? That's what happens.
Is that your spot zoning thing that you like to talk about? Well, I'm not.
Anything's possible is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Anything's possible.
Yeah, and honestly, I think so. Right next to it is the Japanese restaurant, but I don't know. I still see another restaurant here. I feel like there should be another restaurant or some high-end shops. We talked about
is this currently, at one time, was there 3 businesses on the lower level, if I understood that correctly?
I think there were 2. I remember when there was the veterinary office there. Now, I moved here in 2002. I heard there was also a jeweler downstairs at some point. There was another real estate office down there with DJ Gluck. There was a few different offices down there. It is a lot of office space, so that's why I really feel it's more suitable for some higher end retail for Margate. It's close to again the whole Lucy area and Ventura's and some of our other shops in that area. Of course, we have Wawa and CVS that everybody loves and goes to frequently. So any other questions?
Yes. Anything else you'd like to talk about this building? Because it's a big deal. That's why we had the investor alert go out yesterday. Margate mixed-use prime property on the DownbeachBUZZ webcast. So if you're a realtor and if you need to get some eyeballs on your property, maybe you have a commercial property that's sitting. reach out to Sherry, reach out to us, go to DownbeachBUZZ.com. We love promoting both residential and commercial because right now, remember back in the day, Sherry, that we would buy big ads in the newspaper. You can't do that anymore. So how do you market your property? Facebook and X and Twitter? And are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So go to Down Beach Buzz. We have a game plan to help you move your properties. So if you are a seller, if you're a homeowner and you're waiting for the person that's supposed to represent you and they're just kind of dragging their feet or maybe something's not happening, reach out to us because we're pretty diabolical, Sherry and I. We figure out ways of selling your property, getting eyeballs on your property so that you can sell the thing or maybe get a great deal since it's a kind of a buyer's / balanced market. I believe it's a buyer's market. Sherry's more of a balanced market. Either way, Margate's a great place to invest and lay down some roots and get some great real estate deals. And you could be operating your property inside the place where Mark Arbite, I mean, their place is magical. Mitch and Mark Arbite were there. You know it'll be successful, whoever the new folks that come on in to live or work out of that property on the corner of Ventnor Avenue and Benson.
Yeah, and I like I said, I love this building. I love what they've done with it. The location cannot be beat. So, and there's a lot of potential here for growth even, or use it as is for an end user, or if you're a developer, there's definitely opportunity for growth. So just a lot of possibilities, and definitely give me a call if you want to learn more. And yeah, excited to see this building. I mean, excited to help Mark and Mitch with this building marketing.
All right, Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp Realty on the Down Beach Buzz podcast for December 12, 2025. So a couple days ago, you spent 3 days in Atlantic City at the convention center or the conference center, whatever they call it. A thing called Triple Play, a big 3-day event for real estate executives to make you smarter, to get you up to speed on all the things changing in the real estate space. So 2 questions for you. Sherry Lilienfeld of eXp, aka Sustainable Sherry. What did you learn at the Triple Play event, the 3-day event for real estate execs? What did you learn? And did you see any of your colleagues there taking notes, getting smarter just like you?
Well, first of all, I want to say a few things about Triple Play. The reason they call it Triple Play is it's for continuing education for real estate professionals in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That's the Triple Play. I was going to Triple Play before. Some people don't realize it. New Jersey licensed realtors for the longest time didn't have to get recertified. The agents you worked with 20 years ago got licensed whenever and never went to classes and had to get recertified with continuing education. It wasn't until 2010 that they did. Now, I got licensed. I got my real estate license in New Jersey in 2004. I was going to Triple Play, even though it was not required for continuing education. Well, why was I going? Because, no matter what you know, there's always something you can learn. There's always more to know. And it would just blow my mind how much I didn't know. And, not to say I don't know anything, but, the more you know, the more you have to learn. And I would just learn so much. That was number one. Number two, it was a great opportunity to network with other realtors in other areas and hear some of the things they're going through, and we learn from each other. So the other reason I go now and I continue to go is I am licensed in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. And so I get my continuing education for all 3 of those in one class, which is.
So what did you learn? What did you really glean this time around? What was the big takeaway that you learned during this 2025 Triple Play for real estate agents?
Yeah, surprising enough, you'd think that they would be talking about AI and stuff, which is what they spoke about the last couple of years. This year, the big theme was fraud and safety. Not just safety for realtors, but safety for your clients. And there's so much fraud. For example, like I did a video and a blog about property fraud. And I don't know, do you remember what property fraud is? I'm going to ask you the question, John. Do you remember what property fraud is? because I will tell you, property fraud, and it happens all over. These scammers will see a property, and a lot of times they do it with land, but they'll do it with your house, and they will record a fake deed or a fake lien or whatever. They record fake information and claim your property. So your property is literally stolen from you on the county level without your knowledge. And the only time you find out about it is when you go to sell it. And then this crazy stuff starts coming up into your title report. And then you're running out of time. So most counties, Atlantic County has this, where you can register for free. And I have a video on this, which you could share later. But you can register for free, where you are notified if there's something that changes, that gets recorded against your property. So it's really, really important, and it's rampant. It's all over the country. It's everywhere. And I was just Googling, and apparently in 2018 and 19, there were these two men who were doing this in Atlantic City, you know, especially when it's a property that no one's like really paying attention. But so property fraud and safety. So the other thing they talked about is wire fraud. Okay, I know on the bottom of my email, it says, be careful of wire fraud. What wire fraud? 1 in 20 transactions will get scammed by wire fraud. And the way these scammers work is they will get into your email. They know you're a realtor, or they will get in a title company email or mortgage person's email, and they know a transaction is happening sometime soon. So they sit and they watch. And then a little bit before the transaction, they say, oh, you have to wire this money right now. Otherwise, you're in risk of losing this transaction. And people wire money. And once that money is wired, most of the time it goes out of the country. You cannot get that money back. And they had stories. There were agents that talked stories. This guy lost 1.5 million. This guy lost, 500,000. It's 1 in 20 transactions that gets hit. You have to be diligent. And then the other part is safety. Like, okay, you want your agent to do an open house. Like, you really need to think about what you're leaving out, your car keys, even your calendar on your refrigerator, any personal items. So safety was just the topic of this, because there's all these scammers, and scammers are so bold. And, sadly, I sat in a session where someone was talking about realtors getting stalked and scammed, and their life threatened because, everyone thinks we're so wealthy and we make all this money. Like, people are like scamming realtors, to try to get money and threatening them. One lady said there was literally a man outside of her house with a car. All her neighbors saw it, and he was threatening her for money. It's just, so safety was the overall.
So how do you make sure that people coming in to an open house or a showing, how do you know that person is a real buyer, not somebody just pretending to be a buyer, to get in your property, to get closer to you, maybe to leave, to take pictures, maybe to scout the place out, to case the joint, maybe they leave behind a miniature recording device? How would you know? Because you could leave behind a miniature recording device, and all of a sudden you're listening to other people's conversations. How do you protect yourself? You really just have to vet. You have to vet the people that are coming in. That's really the only solution?
Well, first of all, they tell you never to do an open house by yourself, for a couple of reasons. I always had this thing, like let's say a couple comes in, right? And the woman wants to go look at the bedrooms and the man goes into the utility room. You never have anyone split up in your house, number one. They always have to be attended. And if not anything for realtor safety, for client safety, for their personals. But one of the things a realtor should do when you get a listing is walk through the person's home with them and tell them all the things they need to put away. Don't leave your car keys, in the little bucket. Don't leave any keys in that bucket, by the door that most people do, or the hook. We always tell you to take down your personal pictures, but you've heard stories with kids, John Bonet Ramsey, like you want to protect your children. You want to protect your family. Like our job is to protect you during this transaction, whether it's financially, whatever it is. So we do a walkthrough before you do an open house. Someone's asking, can a realtor list a home on Airbnb to do side hustle earning? Well, anytime we do a real estate transaction, it should be through our broker, not for a side hustle. The only way we can do that is if it's our personal property. Like the broker always needs to get the money that we get paid. It always has to be through a broker.
How many realtors that bring a buyer to your open house or your showing, whatever, are all those buyers agents, are they doing proper vetting before they bring somebody into your home, into your showing, into your property?
I can't speak for other people. I know, like when I, for example, recently had a beachfront property for sale, this agent called me and goes, oh, I have this guy cash buy. Like, look, I get these emails all the time. I'm going to tell you, I get them all the time. I'm relocating to the area. I'm looking for a house with a pool and 4 bedrooms, and I'm going to spend $1 million, whatever it is. And I can't talk on the phone now, but reach me through WhatsApp. Whenever I see that, reach me through WhatsApp, I'm done. Like because they'll have an email or a regular phone number. I'll send an email or a text to that phone. I never hear from them. So, but I had an agent who's like, yeah, I have this cash buyer. He's coming. I'm like, have you met this person before? Have you talked to them? So one of the things we're supposed to do to talk about the vetting, especially with buyer's agency, which is a great topic. When you're doing buyer's agency, you are supposed to meet this person and have a buyer intake before you ever take them out. You're supposed to explain agency. You're supposed to find out what they're looking for. You're supposed to, you're supposed to do your vetting. But one of the things they told me is these scammers with AI are getting so good. They can do a Zoom call with an AI person. So you're never seeing this person. Like you got to be so good at really vetting, like even more diligent than ever. Like that was the overlying theme. Like you got to watch all these signs. One person that got scammed, she talked to the banker. They have fake proof of funds. Like, so that's all. You just have to really, really have your radar up and ask lots of questions and double check and triple check. And so you as a buyer or seller need to be aware, but the agent also needs to look for things. Like you need to tell your buyer, I will never send you an email or text to say, wire your money now. If you see that, that's not me. Like it's just educating. So it's about safety and educating your buyers and your sellers. Sellers have to be careful too. Another scam, you list a property for sale. It's on the internet. It's everywhere. Well, scammers will take that property and list it someplace else, saying it's for rent at a really discounted price, and then they get a tenant. They take the tenant's money, their security deposits, they're 1 month ahead, they take this money. The tenant shows up with a U-Haul truck to the house that's never been for rent. And now you have a very sad situation. You have a desperate tenant who needs a place to live, who gave their money to some scam artist. And then you have people that are living in a house that's for sale with people like knocking on their door. And it's very dangerous and scary. There's just so many things that can happen with real estate. I tell you, every time I go to Triple Pay, I'm like, oh my God, why am I in this business? It's scary. You really got to be on top of your game. And another reason why you need an agent who's going to protect you and be aware of these things and educate you.
Is it well attended by local realtors, this Triple Play? Since it's in Atlantic City, it's right down the street. You can hop on a jitney. You see a lot of your colleagues there this past week.
That's a very good point. I saw two of my colleagues. I saw two.
So you saw two colleagues, realtors, real estate type folks at the Triple Play Real Estate 3-day event where you keep up to speed on all things with real estate. That's interesting.
You know, sadly, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, I just get my CE. My CE means continuing education credits. I just get my continuing education online virtually. And that's good. But I tell you, there's so much to learn from even just people's stories, because like it's one thing to get, so CE virtually, you get like, this is the details. Never do, you gotta see a closing disclosure, 3 days before. This is the law. These are the details. But when you hear the stories from other people, and that's not what you get virtually, that's when it really sticks. Like, oh my goodness, wow, this happened to this person, that person, this one had a client who lost this money, that one. That's when it really leaves an impression to you. So look, I'm a computer person. I love being behind my computer and I work late at night on my computer, but I still love live events. I learn so much from them. And no, I did not see very many of my colleagues, unfortunately.
All right, so let me ask you some other questions. So how much AI discussion? How can realtors or brokers or agents, how can they leverage AI? Were they touching on it? Were they offering, or maybe we have to wait till next year? Where's the industry with AI, how to leverage it properly and legally and appropriately?
So like I said, a few years ago when I went to a number of sessions with AI. The reason I didn't...
Of course, AI is artificial intelligence, but it really is just a whole bunch of digital smarts. Some people call it ChatGPT, but there's all kinds of different versions. Like if you're on X, you're probably using Grok. Maybe you're using Gemini if you are a Google person. So there's all forms of AI or artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I got, so I didn't go to a lot of the AI classes because I don't know, there's just certain classes that appeal to me more. Like I attended an amazing class on 1031 exchanges. For anyone that doesn't know what that is, that's when investors sell a property and they defer capital gain tax by doing what's called a 1031 exchange. I have personally done 1031 exchange. I've worked with people and I'm like, oh, what am I going to learn from this class? I learned so much from this class. That's what I mean. Like, you think you know a lot. I mean, I've done it, yet I learned so much because there's so many nuances about what you can exchange into and how you defer and how you use your property so you can do 1031. Anyway, the AI, the one thing I learned this time, and it does have to do with safety and protecting yourself, is when you use AI, for example, if you take a picture and you put furniture in it, with AI, you need to disclose. Again, it's the disclose. You need to disclose this picture was generated with AI. So again, AI is being used a lot. So you do need to just be aware when there's a fake out there and there's something real, and realtors need to disclose when it's modified, or like they showed a picture of like a basement with this huge crack down the middle, and then the one where they cleaned up the crack. Well, you can't have the cleaned up crack picture unless you say this picture was generated with AI or modified with AI. So I just didn't go to those other sessions because I was too busy learning how to be scared.
So where right now, in general, just take a ballpark guess, where do most realtors, listing agents, those who represent the seller, where do they market their property the most? Ballpark it for me. Where do they market in advertising and getting eyeballs on that listing? Where do they spend most of their money or time?
I think most realtors, and again, I don't have any statistics to back this up, so I'm going to disclose that, put it in the MLS and the MLS will syndicate out to Zillow and Realtor.com. So they feel like they are getting that market reach, and they are, because when you put it in the MLS, it does get a big reach. But in terms of spending on advertising, specific advertising, most realtors just put it in the MLS. And just on that note, honestly, if you are just putting it in the MLS, you should at least invest in good pictures, and a description that says easy to show, or actually that's not a safe thing based on safety, but actually that's a bad thing to put in there. But good pictures and a really good description that's not too long. Some descriptions are way too long though too, good and to the point. But I think most realtors aren't doing a lot. There's a lot, like the younger realtors really love doing their short videos. They really love the TikTok. And
you mean that's where they stand in front of the property and they just yap about it, but they don't really take you through a walkthrough or, do a narration over photos. I find that that's very common. Standing in front of a nondescript, you don't even know where the heck you are, but they're yapping. I think basically all realtors, with all due respect, they're being told by their bosses, their brokers, start using this stuff.
Yes. Yeah. I was just going to say that. You're like, you got to be on social media. You got to be on social media. Start doing videos. And that's been going on at Triple Play for like 10 years, so people are starting to do these videos. But I have an expression, do it right the first time. Like, if you're going to do it well. And yes.
Yes, if I may, Ms. Lilienfeld of VXP. So the MLS, it syndicates the listing to a whole bunch of platforms, individual realtor platforms, websites, homes.com, realtor. It's the MLS, the multiple listing service. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. I can't even imagine what it was like. Well, I can imagine, because back in the day, it was like a telephone book you'd wait for every week that had all the listings in black and white. It was, vey. So, but when you place your listing in the MLS, and quite frankly, I think even private owners can do it now, if I'm not mistaken. But you're getting your listing in front of active buyers, people who are actively looking to buy or to sell or to lease or rent. These are actives. But how do these realtors market your property to those who are not active right now, but they're considered somewhat passive? Don't you want to get those properties in front of those who were not actively searching? For example, the property that we talked about, that was right here, and I'm going to let you run with this, Cher. But we talked about the property there, the mixed-use property at Benson and Ventnor Avenue, the Arbite place. So by Down Beach Buzz doing a story on that awesome investor alert, you had a potential buyer reach out to you. So they weren't actively looking to buy commercial property,
right?
But we got in front of a passive buyer. So you take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, you should mention how many people subscribe to you if you want to, but the number is ridiculously impressive. These are active subscribers, people who want to get your news, who talk about your news. They buzz about your news, excuse the pun. So, yeah. So I just wanted
to make it clear. There's marketing to active real estate buyers, and there's a lot of benefit in marketing to passives, or those not ready to pull the trigger yet, but you might as well get your property in front of these people because they have money and they might want to buy maybe in February when it gets a little bit warmer. So there's active buyers and there's passives. And right now, I don't see a lot of passive advertising unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I mean, the only kind of other passive marketing we do is if we meet someone and they say, well, I'm thinking about buying. I'm not really ready, but I do want to get a feel for the market. So what we do is we start sending them alerts, property alerts. We get an idea of what their price range is, the size of the home, and we set up a search. And so they will get automatic notifications. And that's very helpful for people to get a good feel for the market, because because when the right property comes, they're ready to pull the trigger because they've been educated with with property alerts. And if you have a great relationship with your realtor should know what you're looking for and call you when something hits the market. Some people might say, I want to buy, but this is when I want to buy. I don't even think it's out there, but if something comes up, please let me know. That's a little tougher though, just because, especially now, we got to do buyer's agency agreements. So if you want me to actively work for you, then we need a buyer's agent agreement. That means I am turning every stone to find what you want. But you said they're passive buyers. The other thing I wanted to mention is when I do an open house and people come in and say, oh, I'm not looking, I live up the street. And I always say, I like neighbors because you want your friends to move into this neighborhood. I hope you like this house and tell all your friends about this house and send them over, because there's something, the first rule we learn when we start real estate is called your sphere of influence. The people you reach out to your sphere of influence and they have a sphere of influence. And that is like rule number one of real estate. So yeah, send your friends, if you want to just look, but you're going to tell your friend or your neighbor, I'm happy to give you a tour. As long as you and your husband stay together and don't split up and one go upstairs and one go downstairs for realtor safety.
How many people, what percentage come in without a buyer's agent agreement? Does that happen? You police that, right? You want to have somebody coming in represented by a realtor. You would prefer that, right?
Yeah, well, so we have a sign we have to keep up now that we post that basically says, I represent the seller, and explains all the agency, meaning buyer's agency, dual agency, designated agency. And then I make them sign a sheet to answer, and I ask them, are you working with someone? Do you currently have a buyer's agency signed with someone? Like, you have to ask them if they're working with someone. You can't assume they're not. Some people are working with someone and they just want to come in. Their agent's not available that particular time. They saw the sign. So you are supposed to post that you represent the seller. When you're doing that open house, you're supposed to explain the different levels of representation, and you're supposed to ask them, are they working with someone?
We just got a text message that came in. Sherry Lilienfeld, please tell me, when's the best time to place my beach house on the market? Should I do it now?
I know where this is going. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me ask the question, because this is a podcast to help sales with real estate. So when's the best time to place your beach house on the market?
So there's two times, in my opinion. One is very early spring, late winter, January, February, March, because people want to be in their homes by the summer, by May, right? So they're going to start looking January, February, March. That's time number one. Time number two would be at the end of the summer. People have rented. They've rented for years. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm so tired of renting, though. I want to buy. I love the shore, but I want to buy. So put your house on the market at the end of August, September, October. That to me is the other best time to list your house.
But what's out of those two, what is the best in terms of selling it faster and selling it at the best price you can get? Out of those two times, which is the best?
I would say the early springtime, the January, February, March time is the best time.
So if you have a move-in ready place, you might be able to close within, and people love it, it's perfect. You might be able to close in about 60 days-ish. Is that kind of an average?
30 to 60 days if they're getting a mortgage. Yes.
They want to be able to come in and start to enjoy their place probably April, May. They want to get down here.
They want to get it set up. They want to buy new bedding or decorate it. Yes. They want a couple of months. Yeah, they want to be closed by March, March or April, for sure.
When do the average people start pouring on their properties? it's probably best to get out a little ahead of the crowd, I would assume.
Yeah, well, of course, if you have less competition. Yeah, I mean that varies. A lot of times people pull their house off the market around if they use it. Now, again, we're talking about second home market. So that's a little different because a lot of people aren't using their properties. But if someone is in their property, they don't want to be bothered around the holidays. I actually always say the best time to sell is around the holidays because a lot of people pull their properties off the market then. And if someone's out there looking during the holidays, they are a serious buyer. They want to buy. Like, so, we can do these generalities, but all it takes is one buyer, right?
And then if you're a seller and you are putting your house, you're listing it in December, that means you're a motivated seller because deep down inside, that right before Christmas and Hanukkah may not be the best time, but I got to get out of here. I got a new job. Let me put it on the market now at an aggressive price. And if you listen to the Down Beach Buzz podcast with Sherry Lilienfeld of EXP, a 5-star realtor agent award for the 14th year in a row. Sweet baby Jesus. You put it on the market. You put it on the market early because you have to sell. And then listening to the Sherry Lilienfeld podcast, go in maybe 10% below comparable asking prices, so you can get some eyeballs. Don't be cocky and go 10% above. Do 10% below market value, maybe.
Yeah. So the statistics are like if you list at 10% below your, what you think the market price is, you're going to sell it faster and for a higher price than if you go in 10% higher. 10% higher, you get less people, the listing gets stale, then you're dropping it, then it's on the market longer time. You're best to go 10% below. You will sell it faster for a higher price. And, so you're not losing anything. You're gaining everything. You're gaining time and money on your side.
Okay. All right, let's go to the next story before you got to get going here. So go to DownbeachBUZZ.com. A lot of great stories that we have written and published. And special thanks to Michael Angelo, Classic Painting, new sponsor of the Down Beach Buzz podcast. Classic Painting, residential, commercial. Michael Angelo, they've been around since 1976. Super serving Margate, Ventnor, and Longport. They're the best. You've seen their trucks everywhere. Michael Angelo, Classic Painting. Also got some brand new photographs from St. Leonard's Association, their holiday party. They do it every year. Always a great time. A lot of great photos there. The investor alert referring to the Margate mixed-use prime property there at Benson and Ventnor Avenue. Ventnor has a brand new game plan. Let me just show you real quick. So we have all the details here. Ventnor's going to get 10, count them, 10 brand new pickleball courts. They're ripping up everything, all brand new. And in addition, there's going to be 4 brand new tennis courts. So in reality, we are losing 1 tennis court, but that's going to be converted into 3 pickleball courts. All the information's here under the title called Site Plans, New Ventnor Pickleball Tennis Courts on DownbeachBUZZ.com. It says so Tom Ciccarone, he's the business administrator in Ventnor. Very good guy. Gets back to you right away. Highly recommend if you have a question about anything, how to run a city like Ventnor. Tom Ciccarone, the business admin, he's quite learned and he's a great guy there in that position. So Ventnor has completed the design, the proposed design for the new courts. Right now, they're going to put out an RFP, a request for a proposal for the total reconstruction of pickleball and tennis courts. And you know who the guy was, the company that designed the game plan, the RFP? That was Senator Vince Palestina, great engineer. So give you some background on, we have some experts here. So a replacement of the asphalt surface, new colors, new nets and posts, new chain link fencing everywhere, a new pavilion, shaded area, other site improvements. We're keeping our fingers crossed that work will be done for the summer of 2026. You can come up here and we have the actual diagrams here and court number 5, the tennis court number 5 being converted into 3 pickleball courts, but they're going to be shaped the other way. They're going to be turned cockeye from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So you're going to squeeze 3 in there. And that is going to be awesome to see brand new pickleball courts. I also was able to get the the game plan that Palestina and Associates, the engineers and planners, they put together this plan, and then they send it out to all the builders, and they come back and they say, I'll do it for this amount of money. There's back and forth negotiation. And here's the actual construction site plan for this project. So go up to DownbeachBUZZ if you want to dig into that. I got all the documents in PDF form right there. Pretty exciting, because we're hoping that the boardwalk construction will move away and then the pickleball people will come in, because everything is happening around the same location. Jason Aldean coming to Hard Rock. Love that guy. And that is January 31. Cannabis. This is a story right here, Sherry Lilienfeld. There's a cannabis operator in Atlantic City that was so angry he shut down, and he's gone. He talks all about how he got kind of disrespected in Atlantic City. He was promised all kinds of stuff, but there's something like maybe 30, 35 licenses in the pipeline. And right now, I think there's 15 or 16 cannabis businesses in Atlantic City. And man, then there's weed everywhere. There's illegal weed, illegal consumption, illegal selling, because it's been decriminalized. Crazy. And just in case you like drinking clean water, we have that story. The EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, handed out a violation to the Atlantic City MUA, the Municipal Utilities Authority, also known as the Water Company. The EPA says Atlantic City violated, again, the Safe Drinking Water Act. And you have a nice picture here of the water that you're enjoying. And then, of course, Gary Hill, he's the chairman of the MUA. And this is our good friend, Marty Small, the mayor of Atlantic City, currently in court, as of right now, defending himself against those child abuse charges. And look who we got here right in the middle, Cher. What do you think about this photo? He's a handsome guy. How does he get away with selling properties, doing new construction? He's got to have everybody reaching out to him, because look at that smile, that good look. Look at that beautiful hair. Troy Rosenzweig.
You know, Troy was a builder before he was a realtor. So he greatly, he bonds with the builders. He can talk their talk. He understands their challenges. And he's a very smooth salesperson also. He's good at what he does, and he works very hard, and he knows his stuff.
And he was a pioneer. He knew the value of new construction, because I think you might agree, Sherry, that new construction sometimes can be less expensive than existing home sales, right?
Yes. Well, you know what you're getting more with new construction. You have more control. Plus, the new construction's built higher, so you have lower flood insurance, which can be big for these homes that did get water during Sandy. Those flood insurance could be thousands of dollars, where new construction is under $1,000, and you get a bigger home. And we all like new. Yeah, Troy was in the beginning. Troy was before the trend, because he coined the quote, do new. When there was that little circle that said do AC, he came out with do new. Or I don't know, was that you who did that for him? I don't know. Yeah, you're like, oh, maybe. Anyway, yeah.
Hey, can I show you the video from Ron Brown? He did a drone video of the construction of the Ventnor Boardwalk. You want to take a look at that?
I love Ron Brown's videos. Please.
Right, this is only about 90 seconds. Here we go. That is actually a picture I took of Mayor Bagnell back in the day. Here we are at the Ventnor Fishing Pier. I'm not using any audio because I don't want to get feedback. And this shows you that part 2 of the boardwalk, after it got ripped away a long time ago in 1963, another storm, and they rebuilt it then in 1963. And you can see where the boardwalk has been ripped out. And you can see back in the good old days when you could actually see the beach and the ocean. There's Mr. Bagnell, the former mayor of Ventnor, talking about how that big storm back in, I think that was the 62, 63 storm. This boardwalk served us well for a long time. You can see there at the bottom, those posts are rotting out big time. I took those photographs. I can't believe the boardwalk has been standing up all this time. And you can see they're doing a lot of work, and they're moving along nicely. I think some of the challenges that they ran into, the workers, the contractors, was that when they were pulling out the pilings, they would fall apart. They couldn't just pull them out all at one time, because sometimes those pilings, those big giant wooden poles, they would just crumble. And luckily,
that's scary.
It has survived all this time.
Great footage.
Yeah, this is all Ron Brown. And I think what we're looking at right now is, yeah, they're doing first things first. The fishing pier, the Ventnor fishing pier, the pier has remained open through all this, so never fear. And here he goes with the final shots. Gives you some idea. This video is probably about 2 months old right now, but they're making some great progress. All right.
Awesome. All right.
All right, that's about enough. Anything else? Just say goodbye and tell people why they should reach out to you, Sherry. Why should they care about Sherry Lilienfeld, and why should they call you pronto?
They should call Sherry Lilienfeld because Sherry Lilienfeld cares, and I will keep you safe, protect your assets, sell your home fast for the best price, or as a buyer's agent, I will not leave any stone unturned so you can make an educated purchasing decision, which is important. My motto is disclose, disclose, disclose. Some people think, oh, I don't want to bring it up because it's going to kill the deal. But honestly, it's a lot better to bring things up before you close a deal so everybody knows about it, because if you don't disclose it, then it becomes deception and it's a big problem. So
and how can people find you? How can people reach out and find you, Sherry?
The best way is my cell phone, 609-287-1795, or my email is realtysherry@gmail.com.